Hey, what is up? Welcome to the Hypothetical Comedy Podcast. I am Funky Sam Medina,
And I am Athena Rodriguez.
and we are with comedian Richard Dweck. What's up, Richard? How you doing?
Hey guys, thank you so much for having me on.
Absolutely, man. How you doing?
I'm doing okay. Yeah,
Excellent,
just
excellent. How's life out in New Jersey?
it's good. I mean, it's just always, so many people. We have a big scene, so it's tough to stand out, but I'm having a good time with it, and uh it just has been a really cool time for me. In July, I hit 14 years of doing comedy overall because I started in improv like 7 years ago, and then no, yeah, like in 20, no, that was like 14 years ago. So, uh, and then I started doing stand up 8 years ago. So it's been, it's been a lot of anniversaries of me doing stand up and comedy and everything. It's been awesome.
Well, I guess happy anniversaries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, you said you have a big scene out there. You know what they say about areas of big comedy scenes, right?
Well,
They have a lot of open mics.
oh yes, a lot of open mics, and they're all stretched out, and it's very good. It's good, but New Jersey's very underrated for comedy because everyone just thinks of New York and Philly as like the main, which is true, but New Jersey's very underrated.
Do you go to New York and Philly for comedy?
I've been to like Delaware area,
Oh,
but I haven't
Delaware.
been to like Philly really, and I never did mics in New York. I want to do mics in New York. I would when I was starting out, like a year and like 6 months in, I was doing all the bringer shows in New York, which were terrible to do, but I was just like, well, I get to perform on a stage where a lot of comedians that I love have performed on, and
Yeah.
I
I mean,
get some practice material that I've done for, I get like a date, and then it's like, okay, I can practice this material for 3 weeks and perform in front of an audience that is mostly my family, and they get to see me. And then I look back at these clips now, and I'm like, why? Why did they let me talk for 6 minutes? like,
because you
I look
brought
back at it
people.
now, I'm like, I could fucking kill it now. I look back at that stuff, and I'm like, that is just why did you let a 22-year-old talk for 6 minutes?
I think if you ran a bringer show, you should call it All Hands on Dweck.
Oh yeah.
That's cool though. Yeah, I think we were all there. 1 to 2 years in the comedy, we were doing a lot of bringer shows out here in the San Francisco area. It just
Yeah.
it just happens, because when people are new to comedy, people are excited to come see you. And then when you've been doing it for a while and you're good, your friends don't want to see you anymore.
No, they don't want to see you. They'll come to that. They'll come to maybe a couple of those, and then they want to see your Netflix special. They don't want to see
Yeah, yeah,
the
and then
journey.
and then you see pictures of them at the San Jose Improv because they went to go see Fluffy or somebody. I'm like, oh, you'll go see Fluffy. I see.
Right.
I guess I gotta wear shorts on stage.
Uh,
Hell yeah, that's cool, man. What's in Delaware? You said you went to Delaware for comedy.
yeah, there's this mic called Bar 13 that is very good, and it's very good because it's very irreverent and much more like it's close to the Philly area, so they're less sensitive and they're really good about it.
Oh,
So
I
they're like,
see.
it's not like hacky or anything, but it's just like they accept more of a darker and dirtier thing, which is good for me because I need to have that area. And also it's like good to work for it. That's what I always feel like. It I want like a challenge. I think when you get too complacent it just doesn't work. You're not getting any better if you're just going to the same mics and they're easy and they're just like, okay, everyone loves me here. Let's because it's enticing to stay there. You're like, oh, I'll just do these 5 bits that everyone loves and then leave and go home. And it's like, no, I want to work out my shit.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Absolutely. And you're talking like a true, person that's been doing it for a long time. So you say you started improv first?
Yeah, local improv. I was 16, I guess. And it was just, I was singing in high school. That's what I was doing. And
Oh
my old
wow.
drama
What?
teacher,
I'm gonna
my
stop
old
you for a
drama teacher,
second. What were you? What kind
my,
of songs did you sing?
I was like, uh, well, first I did like regular music that I liked, like Green Day stuff and like a lot of soft rock and stuff like that. But then when I when I continued singing in this different high school that I went to, they made me actually sing a lot of like Jersey Boys stuff, which is like I like that music, but it's tough on your voice because I had a very high pitch like voice. I'm a 10-year singer, so like my voice could go very high. So what I ended up doing was at one of my talent shows, the last time I ever sang in school was at the school that I switched to. I did Adam Sandler's song Red Hooded Sweatshirt, which is very, very like high pitched and like, but it's a funny song. And that was the first time I ever killed like comedically singing. But
Oh
anyway,
wow.
in my I guess it was like in like my end of my I guess it was end of my freshman year, going into my sophomore year of like the summer of the end of my freshman year. I just saw a flyer on the wall for my drama teacher. He's very popular for in people my sister's age. She's like 4 years older than me. Like he was popular with those people for his improv group, Improv Jam. And they do like whose lines anyway type of style improv, and he's been doing it for
Oh,
20
that's
over 20
fun.
years. So I joined that, and I initially just wanted to do it for like I don't know, like a month, and then start doing stand up. But there was no stand up in my area at all, and especially I wouldn't be able to get into any clubs because I was fucking 16. So
Yeah.
it was like okay, I'll have to wait. And then it's like okay, 7 years later, it's like okay. But he realized that I wanted to do it, so we started when we started performing at this like rock and roll Hall of Fame place. We would have I was on like the B squad. The A squad was these older improv guys, which were amazing. They do like so many amazing stuff, like so physical, and like they had a lot of trust with each other. And I always like never knew I was gonna get there. And then we had comedians opening for us, like stand up. So I was like, okay, I got to meet a lot of people that were doing it. And then my improv teacher, he knew that I wanted to do it, so he's like, "You want to open for us like they do?"
Oh
And I did it twice,
wow.
and I bombed terribly. but but the way that I always explain it is the first time I ever did it, I could have fallen off the stage. I would have gotten off like 5 seconds later, full of adrenaline. Like this is awesome. It's like I was just so excited to do it. And then one of my improv like people that I was in the group with was doing stand up too at the time, and he told me all the mics to go to. So I just started going, and it was cool because it was like I guess it was 2015. So like in 2014, the guy Angelo Gingerelli, who runs all our stuff in the Jersey Shore area, in like Red Bank and Long Branch, for a decade now. He had started it in like 2014. So I came in like a year later. It's still like the impetus, like the start of the whole entire like comedy scene,
Oh wow.
and it's just been there from there. And the cool thing was like growing up, I was held back in kindergarten, so I was very much like I was a year older than everyone in my peer group. And then when I started doing stand up, I was the youngest. So I'm, you know, I'm 21 and a half, 22, and these people are, 25, and it's like, 24, 25, and it's funny now being, 29 now, and I'm like caught up to the age. But it was an interesting thing of like I got to really spend a lot of my 20s like just in that socially with a lot of comedians, and it's been really really fun and really great time. It really helped me a lot like to find my place sort of socially in that.
Yeah, absolutely. I bet it did. So the improv sounds fun. Do you still do improv?
No, it was fun. I just didn't have many characters I could do. I only had two characters that I really fleshed out like and tried to do. One was one was like sort of a like camp like a campy like teacher who was like who was who had to deal with a lot of like third graders who were terrible on like a presentation day. So you'd be like, Johnny, don't touch that. Don't touch yourself in the class until the parents are here. And stuff like that. And then the other one I had was like this character that was like a vice principal based off of Lewis Black, who was like telling the children not to dance suggestively with each other at the school prom. There's like they're fucking like rabbits on the dance floor. But those were the only two that I could really come up with. I was terrible at doing characters and voices, but the one thing that I was great at, that I got really good at, was just like being on the fly. And like if there was a scene or something, like I wouldn't like embarrass myself. I'd be able to hang. So
cool.
now it's funny, like whenever comedians need like a suggestion, like I'm always like the first person to have a bunch of stuff that they should use. I'm like, oh, just say this random word.
Do you think the improv prepared you for stand-up comedy?
I think the one thing that it helped me with is failing. It helped me with bombing. But
that's good.
Because but it's also like a double-handed sword, because I learned how to bomb, but I was bombing with a group of people. So once you're doing stand-up on your own, they're like, shit, this is all my responsibility now.
Yeah.
This is my responsibility now. You can't really blame it on anyone else or be like, oh, we didn't do a good job. It's like, no, you did not.
Well, I mean, a lot of comics blame the audience. I guess you could do that if you really wanted to.
Yeah, I mean, that happens sometimes. I think that happens too much.
Way too much.
Yeah, because there is, I think it happens way too much because it is possible. It is possible that the audience could just be bad. But I always feel like that's not an anomaly, but just like, it depends where you are. You know, I always, it's funny, I don't know how funny it is, but I was at a mic that I go to usually on Mondays, and we were inside, and like usually when we do our mic is very cool because for the past like year and a half, this poetry scene that's been around for 10 years have joined us. So like they're really good audience members, and some of them are funny. Some of them have the same personalities as us as comedians, so they're really cool. And but still, it's a bar, so you know people aren't always the best attentive. And our main guy, the main poet, was on tour, so he had a nicer guy sort of hosting. You know, when people host, you have to be like aggressive kind of towards the crowd to get them to like, you know,
to pay attention
and not like talk over everyone and be like he wasn't doing any of that. So it's just a bad like night, like crowd wise. And
was it a poetry open mic?
Yeah, and everyone was freaking out about it. And then like they were complaining about it at first, and I was like, guys, this is not that bad. I've experienced like 15 times worse. like this. So it's just a thing that, but I think that's all perspective of like me of like, oh, going through so many crappy open mics, you're like, oh, this is fine.
Yeah, no, that's for sure, man. That's for sure. There's so many. There's good open mics, but there's so many bad ones.
Yeah, it is, and it's tough because it adds up like a lot. Like to me, I was very lucky that like I'm gonna be living with my parents again. I mean, I'm moving back in October, but like I've been living with my roommate like 10 minutes from my parents' house and like for 2 years, and it's been like an adjustment of like having to manage my money and stuff. And it's really tough to go to mics and stuff as much as I want to, because it's like, it's so expensive. And it's like, okay, it's like, is this stuff going to be worth it? Like, of course I always go out as much as I can, but it's like, it really gets to you when you're like, oh yeah, it really makes you realize like, okay, you have to be spending your time like wisely. So I try and go to different mics now, and that's my main thing, is just going to new places, because anywhere I can be new for a little while is like good for me. It's like, okay. And now crowds are coming back a little bit. Like that's the one thing that's great about comedy nowadays, I feel, is audiences are coming back which have gone away when COVID happened. So it's like that's sort of the upside to people not caring about COVID anymore. It's like, oh, audience members again.
Yeah, for sure. I try to hit open mics before a big show just to get that practice in.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. I'm very envious of probably someone like you who probably gets booked on a lot of stuff. I don't get booked on a whole lot of stuff, and it's just because like I just think there's the same like people, there's like the same 15 people. They're all great. None of them are assholes. Are you there? Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know if it blocked out or anything, but there's like the same 15 people that get booked all the time, and so like it's sort of like when you watch WWE and you're like, I'm not in the main event. I'm a mid-card.
Yeah, right. No, exactly.
So like
I feel like that out here because it's funny because you say that I get a lot of bookings, and I do get quite a few bookings, but like I feel as far as like the Bay Area goes, I'm kind of like a lower mid carder, like a lower card person.
It's always so hard because I try not to make it affect my ego and like affect like also like how I feel, because just like it's not what you can control, And me, my main thing is I never ask to be put on shows. I always want to be like chosen. I never want to ask. I never want to get into like people's way. And maybe I should. And it's funny though, because a lot of it is like the grass is always greener. Like you'll want to be booked on shows, and then you'll hear like from people that were on those shows, oh no, that show was terrible. We didn't get paid. It was, the audience was awful. And you're like, oh, okay. It's not as rose tinted like glasses as I was looking into it of like, okay, but still I would like, I had technically like 2 shows this year, 3, because I had one in like 6 months ago in November of 2022, and then in March and May I had shows. So it was like, and those were the ones like, and I was just happy because I hadn't been getting booked since COVID of like 2 years. So I was like, okay, I get what I get.
Yeah, it is a little bit more slow rolling out. The more east you go, I would imagine too, as far as that goes. Because I mean, I feel like COVID was worst the further east you went. New York, was really bad in New York. Tell us about that, because you were doing comedy and stuff like that, and then COVID happened, and we went on quarantine. What was that like for you?
We quarantined. I always say our scene, we handled it better. We handled it better than athletes. That's what I realized. Because I realized a lot of professional athletes didn't handle it that well. They wanted to play immediately still. We took 3 months off, and then we started again, and it was actually interesting. We had this bar that we went to, the Brighton Bar in Long Branch, New Jersey. It actually just closed down. They actually just knocked it down in December because of COVID last December, and it was a very famous punk bar, like very, very popular. And we turned it into a comedy club technically. Like it got recognized on like the local newspaper and stuff. But like, so anyway, that got turned down. But when we were there during COVID, after like 3 months of not doing it, we were doing it outdoors, and they actually had like, I don't know, the police or whatever, like local police. They had like this is gonna sound nuts, but they had like drones come and like check on the bars to see if people were wearing masks and shit.
I've heard
and
that.
We were the only ones doing it. We were the only bar following the rules of wearing masks.
That's crazy.
And we're like, oh wow, that's pretty cool. So they were happy. So like the town was like fine with us doing it, because they're like, well, they're wearing masks. They're doing what they're supposed to be doing.
That's so crazy, because like if somebody wasn't wearing a mask, I mean, how's the cop going to identify who they are? I guess they would identify. I guess they could identify the bar that's not enforcing it.
Yeah, they're just like, oh, the bar's not following the rules of whatever COVID is.
Yeah, shut those motherfuckers down.
But it's like, it's New Jersey, but like, and then a lot of people were doing shows and like stuff in like on rooftops and like parks and stuff. And I I never did any of that stuff, but
Yeah, neither did we.
uh,
There's also people doing it in drive-ins, like outdoor drive-ins, to where they were on this little stage area and people were in their cars, and then you could
yeah.
see the person on the movie theater screen, and then you
Oh
hear them
wow.
on your radio, like a drive-in movie. But
Yeah.
we never did that either.
Yeah, and I never did any Zoom stuff for comedy. And I always thought like the way that I always just explain it is I'm so used to performing live and like I need that immediate feedback. Like even when it was just comedians, like the one thing that I kind of how I like worked on material was there's a lot of people that I look up to and that I'm friends with. And like if there's no audience there and there's just comedians, I'm going to try and make them laugh and be like, okay, this is the material I keep. They think this is good. I can do this. But in general, performing in front of other comics, is awful. It's very hard.
Yeah, because I mean, it's not a comic. Because as a comedian, it's not a comic's obligation to really pay attention to the show or to the mic.
No,
we're there to work on our shit, to focus on our material, to do our performance, and then to go outside and be social and smoke a cigarette, and other people get mad at us.
Yeah, so it's tough. It's like, okay, if I could find out. So when audiences start coming back now, it's like that's the one thing that's tough for me is do the one thing that it did was it forced me to write a lot more and do a lot more newer material, which is good because if I just have a recurring audience, like that's my one bad habit is I go into like my usual my usual opening set, which is good, but it's like I need to work on other stuff.
Yeah, I like it. I like it too when I go, like you said, new places. When I go places and I'm like, okay, great. These people haven't heard my jokes.
Right.
They're all new to them.
It's all new to them. And it's cool because like every time you go to see them again, like you just have so much to dig from. You're like, okay, I haven't done this thing. I haven't shown them this whole entire thing in my toolkit of what I can do. And for me, I've been since 2020. I've been writing, trying to write like an hour material, and I'm at like halfway, like 20 minutes. But I it's very tough because I don't want to. You got to put a narrative to it, but I don't want to make it like one man show. Like I want it to be just like pure stand up. But it's tough because it needs a narrative.
Yeah.
So I'm calling it the working title that I have for it is "What Dweck is Wrong with Me."
Nice.
And I talk a lot about just like it's some serious stuff, but always just like it's all in like a funny like way. Of course,
Yeah,
it's like
little punches.
I do like a lot of like just mental illness stuff and a lot of stuff about my autism and just like stuff like that. Because I just can just and the title works super well, and it's just like okay, if I can, but it's just goes to that point again of like I got to work on it. I got to write more.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, same.
And not get stuck in like because you can just get stuck on your same set. Like that's the one thing that I had recently, like a couple months ago. For a couple months now, it's like I never was consistent. I never was consistently killing and doing well, and I've had that recently. But the only bad thing is it feels like you're on autopilot. It's like, oh, I'm not like pushing myself. I can just do this one same set, and it just does well with these people. And it's like boring to me. It's like, okay, now I wanna do new stuff, but it's scary. It's like, and I get constantly. I'm always in my head. I always have just these issues with like self confidence and everything. I'm always like, I think that's the one thing that is good about comedy is it always keeps you humble. So like, okay, you're never gonna master it. I think that's the cool thing. It's not something you can ever really feel like you can fully like realize that you can do. If that makes sense.
No, absolutely does. That's cool. So I almost feel the same way about myself, because I feel like this year is when I started kind of, clicking in all cylinders a little bit. This year, when I finally started being consistently good performances and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And so then when I write new material, I just kind of like just put it into my stuff. I just kind of throw it in there, work on stuff, and
Right.
just change it up a little bit, and things like that. I try.
Yeah. And it's always like I just got to remind myself that I don't always have to start at the same places.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what happens to me too. Is I'll be like, oh, I just start with this joke and then I just go into this thing, and it's like, no, there's no like outset rule. You can start with this joke and go into a different one and
Yeah, you could write it
try and
like
figure it out.
BDAC if you really needed to. You
Yeah.
just
It's like you can,
piece it together later. Yeah,
yeah. But
you
it's
can
always,
absolutely do that.
and I think the one thing that I always have is I can just, especially with the way that like my intro stuff that I do on stage, like when I first get up there, is I mention how dog shit my stage presence is, because I don't have stage fright over the years of doing this. I just have really bad social anxiety. So once I can explain that in like 15 seconds, people get comfortable enough to be like, okay, he's awkward as a person, but he knows how to do this. So
Oh,
there's a
that's cool.
comfortability. And I think a lot of it is just fake it until you make it. Audiences, no matter if they're there to see comedy or they're not, they just want to know that you're like capable. Like,
Yeah,
as long as you think you're capable and you show that you are kind of capable, then that's fine. It's a lot of like sharks can sense like fear and blood. It's like the same thing with audiences. If you're uncomfortable, they're going to notice.
yeah, no, it's true. And there's nothing worse than on stage watching somebody who's uncomfortably stammering and not really hitting any punchlines, and you're just like, okay, what was that?
Right.
Yeah,
And to me, my big thing is I always have to remember that stage fright is a real thing and that it is a thing that people still deal with
yeah, right.
of varying levels. To me, I sort of always forget, and I have to remind myself to be empathetic and sympathetic towards that,
I had stage
because even
fright
though
when I first
it's gone
started.
away from me.
Yeah, I had it when I first started.
Yeah, so it's like hard for me to like realize that. I'll see someone not to won't be like, oh, they still have that thing, which is scary. It is scary to perform in front of other people. It kind of reminds, it's my nephew. I have two nephews. One's 8 and one's 11. And the 11-year-old is like, he could be an actor. Like, he's such an outgoing personality. He's so funny and such like an outgoing person. But he started performing, like playing music and stuff. And he's way more shy on stage than he is in public usually. Usually he's very like, just expressive and like good around being around people. And I talked to my sister and I was like, yeah, because he wants to do well.
Yeah,
It's like
there's not
that's
a lot
why
of
he's
pressure out there
so
on the
much shyer than he
streets.
usually is.
Yeah, there's not a lot of
He's
pressure out there like when you're face to face with somebody, one or two people, but there's a lot more pressure when there's 50 or 60 people looking at you.
right, yeah. So
How old
it's
do you say
something
he's
I
11?
realized. Yeah,
Oh yeah, he's got plenty of time to
and
go over that.
he's so funny. I'm so jealous of how funny.
Oh, that's cool. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Richard, you have a podcast called What the Heck
Yes.
with Richard Dweck. Tell us about that a little bit.
So I started that in 2018. I did like, I guess for a while. I don't know how long it was. I think it was like a year or close to a year, or maybe half a year. I did I guess it was like 2 years. I did just a solo podcast. I would just, I would ramble, and the audio was freaking awful the entire time. And when COVID happened, we weren't performing. I started interviewing comedians, and I started with my best friend who did comedy a little bit. He's done like talent shows and stuff, and he's my best friend. So I've known him since I was 7. So like we did my podcast, and that was like the first interview that I did. And then I interviewed just a lot of local comedians that I'm friends with, and then it just sort of spiraled out where now I've interviewed a few like headliner comics, and like it's really cool because I don't go through management. I don't do any of that. I just go through I'll just message them on Facebook Messenger or Instagram and be like, "Hey, I'm a comic. Do you want to do my shitty podcast?" And it's like, "Yeah," and they're great. But I'm getting more comfortable and confident with asking. I always used to be so like shy about asking, and now I'm great, and it's really good.
There's a few people who I was like on the fence about asking, because like I know that they're, they may be like, friends with me or whatever, but like they're super busy and they're probably not going to do it or whatever.
I've had very good experiences. The only thing, I've only had 2 people not do it, and one was like a guy, kind of like a TikTok guy who I think was kind of like too big headed to really do it, and then the other was a guy who was like he had really bad social anxiety and didn't want to do it, and I understood totally. I was like, okay, he doesn't like to podcast. He told me that, so I was like, okay, that's fine. I can totally understand that. But the other guy was like more of a big leaguing type of thing, and I was like, this is kind of stupid.
There's a couple of people that I asked. I was a little bit nervous about asking, and they're like, "Yeah, I'll do it." And I was like, "Oh, yes, oh, okay." That's cool.
And then recently, the only person I asked is, they don't do a whole lot of podcasts, so it was like fine that they didn't. Have you ever watched a Robin Tran?
Robin Tran? I don't believe so.
They're like they're a transgender comic, which is kind of funny with her name, but like they're very good. She's very good, but and very successful recently.
That's cool.
And she said she was too busy to do it, so I was like, okay, that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure, because a lot of these bigger name comics, they're always performing, they're always super busy, And I interview comics and I interview wrestlers, and those are some of the hardest people to get some time with. I'll tell you that.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. Like, to me, I've interviewed other people. Like, I've had a couple of the poets in our scene now that are joined in, and I've had a lot of comedians, like a few comedians are musicians too, so I've had them on to talk about their music and cool. Like other stuff, and so it's always cool. Like, my thing is, my podcast is basically it's sort of it's mainly influenced by Mark Maron's podcast and Pete Holmes, and like my main thing with it is the origin story, going over how people started, who they grew up watching, how they got into comedy, how they do it, and then that works to have people. I have guests on again, which is great because my audio is always getting better too. So that's the one thing I always have. Like, if I have a new audio system or something, it's like I have to have these guests on again, so this episode sounds better than the last one. And
yeah, I repeated on your podcast,
and it's good because you get to see the progression of everyone. Because the cool thing with stand-up comedy that I love is it's like living in a TV show. You kind of get to see the characters evolve over the years and change.
Kind of grow up in a way.
Grow up. Like I said, like people that I've known now for like almost 10 years, I've met them when I was 21, 22, and now I'm close to being 30, and it's like we get to see each other grow up, and we get to see people evolve, not just as comedians but as people too, which is really, really cool. And it's like, and that's the one thing that I wish was seen more of. Like, I don't wish there was more like TV shows about like documentaries about stand-up, but I think it would be cool like to show the hang more, because there's a real special connection comedians have with each other where we can be so different in like personality and life, and we just have this one thing that we're really like connected by.
Yeah, that's cool. Maybe that's something you could do. Start the Comedian Hang podcast or something.
Yeah, I'm hoping to, when I move back with my parents, I'm hoping to start my own mic. But because I hosted a little bit, I tried to a little bit, and it just didn't work out. And it was more of the setup that is more frustrating than anything. It's like, okay, I have to go to this place, I have to set up the chairs and everything and all that. It's like, that's the stuff I didn't like doing.
Well, bring your best friend along, have him help you.
Right. So I was like, I do it at my place, I can just do it. So.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Oh, your parents' place. That'd be super cool.
Yeah, because they're letting me turn our basement into a podcast studio, so I'm gonna be able to do
Wow.
that.
See, then you got people over and do a mic too.
Yeah, so that's what my mom was thinking. I was like, oh yeah, I can do that.
Hell yeah, dude. That's cool, man. You get in the space, your little office space. That's cool.
Yeah.
Where can people find? Oh, go ahead.
What?
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
Oh, where can people find your podcast and listen to it?
Oh, it's on Spotify, it's on Apple, it's everywhere that you can get podcasts. Anywhere that you can get podcasts, you can find it. New episodes come out every Sunday afternoon, like 12 in the afternoon, and I try and it's been very different for me lately because I used to just do it every weekend, but now I instead of like I wanted to get more people on and more people booked on and do more episodes, and I was like, oh, Richard, you don't have to like make people wait like to the weekend to record them. I can record them whenever, so that's what I do. So I have a lot of things, like I have a lot of episodes backed up in like that are set to air because I did a lot of interviews during.
Yeah, so do we. We actually. I was like, let's open the floodgates. Let's interview everybody, and I booked a whole bunch. I kind of overbooked it, whatever. So we do have quite a few in the can as well. So I know the feeling on that. It's like you're excited.
I usually try to, after like, since my birthday is in December, sometimes I'll do like an episode in December around Christmas, but like for the most part, like the winter time is like December is when I take a break from it. I'm just like, okay, I just to not burn myself out, because that's a big part of it too, is not to get like too overbooked.
Yeah. And I noticed you also do it in seasons too. How do you decide what seasons?
So it's like, I think first I did like 19 or like 20. Yeah, I do like 19. I do like 20 episodes because that's how it like does it on the app. It's like they let you pick like seasons to do it. So I was like, okay. So I was like, okay, I'll do 20 episodes for each. And that's why it's so funny after doing it. It's so weird. I've been doing it for, 5 years, the podcast, but I'm on season 10. No, season 11. I'm going into season 12 next in like 2 episodes.
And every season is 20 episodes?
Because I do 20 episodes each. So I just, I'll interview 20 people. And then
like 200 episodes.
Yeah, so it's great because it's like, okay, I'll get people, and it's always great. It's always cool because people will reach out to me now. Like, I've got this woman, Helene Witt. She wrote.
Yeah, I'm familiar with her.
Yeah, she's very well known for. She wrote for Joan Rivers, and Joan Rivers did her joke on Johnny Carson.
Oh wow, that's exciting.
Like, because that's what they used to do. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen King of Comedy. If you've ever seen that movie,
I don't think so.
But like, that's like a true thing that really happens. Is like, that's what she explained to me. Is that comedians used to do that. They used to like sort of try and be like pen pals with different comedians, like established comedians, and send them jokes, and they would. Either use them or not use them. And she just had one of her jokes was used by Joan Rivers, and it was like, oh, that's so cool. But she was great. She was just great to have on, and she was on a documentary that's on Peacock. That was like, there's this comedian that I forgot her name, but like a savage comedian. She did this seminar where she had like elderly comedians like do a workshop with her, and she got them like late night spots on like Jimmy Fallon and stuff, and like really cool stuff. So I always love having that, and the cool thing is having people that just are from different places and different states. Like, I really want to do comedy in more places. I went to Texas 2 years ago. Like, you had him on your podcast too, Cody Webb.
Yeah, Cody Webb.
Yeah, I reached out to him, and it was just like, he's a Portland guy, and it was just like, I've had him on the podcast now twice, and he's he's really, really cool, and he's really great.
Yeah, no, he is really cool. Cody Webb actually is one of the people that we got pretty close to during the pandemic.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I just always think like that's the one thing that like I'm happy about is like him and like Keely Wolf is like someone who like if I go to like Arizona where she is, or if I ever get to go to like Portland area, like I have at least a contact of like a person of like where I could sort of get started at of like, okay, this is because that's more of my main like far away like pipe dream nowadays is like just to perform in more places because
Absolutely.
I mainly like for my podcast. It's so funny. A lot of people in my scene like they kind of think that I only do like it for New Jersey, which I do, you know, for to expose New Jersey comics, and I think there's a lot of, it's a very underrated scene. But also, I'm not really a huge. I don't like things suck here. That's my one like personal like problem that I sort of have is being in New Jersey for so long. It was like it just is so restraining.
Yeah, you are close to the big cities, though.
Yeah. So
I would imagine. I've never been there, so I don't know exactly, but I think you are.
Yeah. So it's all just, timing and everything and trying to, it's life on top of doing stand-up, which is just like the hardest thing.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's no joke. It really is. It really is tough to navigate life and then to work comedy in there because we didn't do comedy for like 3.5 years just because like you just don't do it for a little while and you get comfortable not doing it,
Right.
So that's me. I never want to do again. I want to stay uncomfortable. I don't want to do comedy forever. I love it.
Right.
Hell yeah. Hey, before we get out of here, do you have any projects or anything you're working on? Anything coming up?
No, I just have a whole lot of stuff coming out with my podcast, a whole lot of episodes.
Hell yeah.
A whole lot of stuff. I had you on recently, so that should be coming out soon. I think it came out. But yeah, it's great. Yeah, thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you want to plug some social media?
Yeah. I am on Instagram. It's Dweck, RDWECK 93. And then I think my other Instagram for my podcast is what the heck RD 93.
What the heck RD 93? Your audio super went out, but
is it okay now?
Yeah, you sound good now. I don't know what happened, but
okay. Yeah, I don't know. I think I didn't have it close enough, but yeah. So there's that, and I'm still on Twitter on X, as it's now called.
Yeah, it's so stupid. I am too, though. Oh, and he's gone. Thank you, Richard. Thank you for joining us. We don't know his Twitter handle, but you can find out by looking him on Twitter. You can follow me at Funky Sam Medina across the board.
And I'm at She Shines For You, all spelled out, no numbers.
And everything else is at Hypothetical Comedy. Hey, thank you to Richard Dweck, and thank you to you for joining us. And we will see you at another time.